Testing one, two, three. Okay, let's get this cranked up. Hope everybody can hear me and see my new layout. Hopefully that's helpful to you. If it is, send me a note back. If it's not, um, then tell me it's not. Always trying to improve. Every week I'm doing something different. Um, Today to get started, I have already put a masket um, on some of these areas that I want to keep white. White. If you look at uh, her hat, there's a lot of white diamond or well, I guess wouldn't that be nice if they were diamonds? Or if they are, mm, someone would steal their hat. I guess if it was that way. Anyway, I've already what I use is it's called it's PEBEO. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. It's uh, it's a gum that's on a stick, and then you open it up and you just press down and it comes out. If you've ever used any of the gum, it gets stuck. It's very difficult to use. And I find those to work pretty well. Uh, and I do not mask areas very much, not very often. I So I went ahead and did that in the areas. I don't know if you can pick it up, but there's a little touches of kind of a bluish green, and they color that so you can see where you have masked and where you haven't. So as I've studied this, I like most of it. A couple little things about the color right in here, a little bit off. But generally speaking, it's it's uh, it's acceptable. And I did notice that I might have to fix her eye right in there. I cut it a little bit short, and I keep looking at it, and I keep thinking there's something wrong there. The eye here is pretty dead on, but this one here looks like it's just a little bit off. So stuff like that always bugs you. And for those of you who are perfectionists, you know what I'm talking about. Of course, I'm not, but those of you who are perfectionists. Um, yeah, Dawn, I think I will have fun this afternoon. Hope you have fun. Hope you have your crayons out and using your crayons while I'm painting. So we can do this together. Don is my brother, so you give him a hard time, uh, and of course, you know he doesn't deserve it. Um, so I'm going to do a couple things. I'm just going to kind of test a little bit on the color uh, on her face. Um, this came out a little bit too yellow, so um, you see I got yellow on it right away. But I'm going to try just to tone that down just a little bit so it's a little more consistent. And it doesn't take much to tone it. You can see just a little bit like that. And you'll see what I do here. And it will kind of turn that yellowish orangey a little bit pinker. And that's pretty much it right there. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So I feel better about that. And then there is just a little more darkness here to give that cheek just a little bit more uh, contour than what I have it. Now I can work on this for years and never be happy with it, but there are a few things I think you can see that already has made a difference in how it looks just by putting that small amount. See, it looks better already. So if I just come down here and add just a touch more color, let that soak right in there and let that go across. Then see how that works. Pretty good. Yeah, I like that. And then just not a lot, but I like this area where it's come out here a lot. Um, And the only thing is, there's a little dark space right here. It looks like maybe um, there needs to be something that suggests that that's just going to part of the neck down here. And if I just do a little bit like that, that's just about all I need. Because when you make the suggestion, your eye will go ahead and and follow through with that suggestion. If I just tone that down just a little bit. So you can see that's made a little bit of a difference. So it doesn't look like, not sure if her face has gone all the way down there or what it is. So that's fixed, I think is fixed that. Okay. Now, so you see that little trick there? So I hope you guys are taking good notes. I'm going to, there are a lot of things I want to do today. Don't know what I have accomplished, but I do have to finish probably at 3:30 or 4, so you guys are getting robbed of some just precious time. But we'll make it up next week. Oh, I want to fix that too. Just a little bit. And just soften up that white that's on this side. Even though she does get some strong sunlight on there, it's almost just a hair too much. But it doesn't take much to fix something like that, as opposed to having to totally redo it. And the other thing I saw that I messed up on is your eyebrow is not there. Her eyebrow's up here. So that's not her eyebrow. I know you guys already picked up on that. But I was looking at that last night. I was thinking, yeah, that just doesn't seem quite right. And again, if I just take out some of that darker color, it's just going to let it form itself. There we go. It's just part of the what she has, just part of a cheek. So that suggests that, and I don't have to do much to suggest where her eyebrow might just start right here. Okay. See, that's all. That's all I needed. That was it. Okay, you happy now? Okay. And that'll dry a little bit lighter than that dark spot. The hat is a very difficult thing to do, and most of you will probably not be painting a lot of hats, especially like this. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time showing you how to paint a hat, but I am going to start it. And if you look, I've mixed up my ultramarine blue and with a little bit of burnt sienna. And the more burnt sienna I put in it, the more burnt sienna has a little bit of red in it and yellow, which is a complement of blue. So the more I put in a burnt sienna, you can see it's slowly turning more black and deeper. And the more concentrate the paint is, the deeper it will be. I don't want to start off too heavy because up here there are some suggestions of the top of the hat having some rims across here. So I'm just going to put that in and allow, because when I do the next coat, then I can easily take care of that. And then there's a couple little spots here. And again, if I let that now, just run across there with my brush and let that be a nice wash. It'll give me some texture at the top. It's going, that little texture at the top is going to suggest there's textures a lot of places. You can see the area that I have covered with the masket is staying pretty well clean. So now I'm going to, again, get back to suggesting, and I'm not, if you look real close at that picture, there are a whole lot of details in there, and there's beads inside of beads inside of beads. All I got to do is make sure that I suggest that they're there, which I'm doing, because that's what I'll do throughout the whole hat. The veil over here, I put a slight amount of brown in it so I can come back and I can deepen that just a little bit. I didn't, I think it's got too much black in the whole composition. So I wanted to change that just a little bit. It takes on just a slight brown. And as an artist, I want to let you know you're allowed to do that, unless it's a commission work and they go berserk. But and so while that's still a little bit I let that run a little bit. I'm really suggesting a lot of texture up here and all those beads. And when I pull the masket off, it'll be white. Then I'll go back over with another wash and not leave that kind of white. So that's what I'm going to do with the hat. So I can go with a larger brush now. I've got it started. So I might do a little more of that hat for you. If you have any comments or questions or want me to show you something, you're glad to do that. A little more mixing of my black, ultramarine, blue, and burnt sienna. And I'm just making sure that gets mixed up nice. What I don't want now is to mess this thing up. And here, I know what kind of values I'm going to go for. I'm going to put a light coat now. And I'm going to kind of vary a little bit of the color. And over here, it's going to be lighter. I'm going to force it a little lighter, and especially suggest that there may be some more beads in there that you haven't seen, that I think are there. I call them beads. Stones? Maybe I should call them stones. Okay. All right. Just going to dry along here. And that's going to be dark right in there between the hat and her head, because actually that's part of the hat on the inside. It's very dark. I think that'll turn out real nice. You can see what's starting to transpire. Before that gets too wet, I am going to put, or too dry rather, I am going to just throw some of this in there. Yes, there could be lines of something in there. There's a lot of, the key is just showing there's lots of texture in that hat. And I am not going to paint the hat, I don't think right at this point, as dark as it is in the print, because first off, I don't have to, but the other is that I don't think it would make quite the composition or statement. I'm going to let that almost some of the edges, maybe even lose some of the edges over here to go into this veil. I call it a veil. I think it's just the bottom of her hat. What do you call that thing? What do you call it? Somebody tell me what it is. Okay. So yeah, that's looking good. A couple little blossoms, don't really need. But what you got to do is kind of imagine what happens when all those, all the areas that are kind of that greenish color. When those get taken off, it'll change quite a bit. In my heavy contrast, I'll show you real quick. And as far as composition wise, is to bring that eye, and the necklace is going to help me there. So right in here, I want it to be pretty dark right in here, lots of contrast. And I'll come back to this a little later. You can almost see the fabric where you flip the brush a little bit like that, just get enough texture to suggest that it's transparent. Just take a little bit off here and there. And, I'm not sure what color the background is, but whatever it is, if it's blue, I will put a little bit in there that'll suggest that you can see through that. Okay. The neck is pretty close to being done. I am going to make the dress pretty dark and I'm going to let it kind of grow gray as it goes out to the edge. The jewelry is very interesting. If you had watched the last one I did, a lady, I think it was Marion, and oops, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't have any of that color in there. But it's made up, if you look close at the picture, she has a lot of the diamonding, and it's just a touch of a little blue. So that's why I'm thinking about that blue there I would use for the background and suggest the sky. And that'll, I think, balance that out pretty good. And I love this. This Antwerp and blue will come through for me nice. So what I'm going to do is just going to some of the areas that I know I'm going to color. I do need some black over here, dark. I got to be careful not to get these too dark in the value, which I have done a number of times. And what happens is then the necklace ends up, it looks like it's dominating the whole thing. So what I want to do is come back through here, start building up the values the way I want them. And remember, one way of showing a line is showing the color change from the necklace to the dress. I'm not drawing a line, it just stops there, which I know that's technically a line. But I'm always amazed at how we let the lines make too big a deal about them and just start painting lines. And I'm not going to hold on. I made some notes to myself about this. See if I can find them. They're there. I write notes to myself when I think of something that I want to do, and this is exactly the spot where I want to look at it. I'm going to really. I am not going to put a lot of detail. I want to see how you guys like this. Let me know. I think it comes out okay. I'm going to try something here. There's what I needed. I knew I needed somewhere. There it is. Yeah, I like it. Smooth that out a little bit. Just gonna capture some of the shapes I see in there and not worry about the detail. I think it'll look better. Normally, I go for the detail because I start that way. I can't stop myself. So if I've already committed myself, now I can't put the detail in there, then maybe I won't do it. So we'll see if that happens. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Kind of, these are like, to me, I just kind of see different kinds of shapes of rocks and things in there. And I'm just going to kind of do this right now. I'm really kind of testing it to see if I'm going to like it. So for here, I just want a little darker back in the hair. That's just a suggestion of some earrings. I don't think she had any in, but we couldn't see them. I see shapes in there, so I'm gonna just see what happens if I'm only gonna paint those shapes. I want to see if it kind of alludes to what I'm trying to get it to look like. And there's a little bit of that yellow sienna I like, kind of neutral. And we put a little of that in there, maybe just such that gives me just the color I want. Yeah, not much, I just need a little suggestion of a color. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. So I'm experimenting with you all. Hope you're enjoying being a guinea pig for me. Some things work, some things they don't. But just trying to see if I can get that to look more not so detailed, but yet just enough to give you a slight suggestion. And I think it'll pop when I get the. I want to use the color there too a little bit, kind of like that. Every once in a while, just a little color in here. It looks like a little purple, and then a little touch of orange to soften that color a little bit. I think that'll work. Yep, I think it will. Yeah. I'm going to put some, just a little, not real black, but just darken. Yeah, that might be too much. Hope not, but I think that's what I'm looking for right there. I want to see where it is when, as far as the values back here. A lot of shadow back here. Gets a little bit lighter over that way. So I think I'm okay here. And if I don't overdo this, I think this will come out good. Suggest a little contouring here. Don't have to put much in there to suggest that, just enough to make it look like that. Yeah, that looks right there. Okay, that's starting to be something what I was thinking about. Not yet, but I'm close. Okay, if I do that throughout, we'll see what happens. So I'm using, I don't know, I'm trying to kind of go from a reddish to a turquoise, and so it's just not throwing a bunch of color on there, just trying to make it look uh, like it actually could be real, you know, what I think it would look like. But so far, I think it's kind of what I was thinking about. Like some of this green, I don't know what color, it's a sandy color. I really like it. Sometimes anything you do to get it to look like it's just not taken right off of the palette, I think is a good thing. So I'll put some texture in here, and I'm just kind of playing. I wish I could tell you what I was doing. So I know you're thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, sort of. Really true. I'm trying to find that look I'm looking for, and I really am getting there. What I was hoping for. It's just a bunch of shapes that would suggest that this is a necklace. You can kind of see it's starting to take a little shape now where you can see that it's not flat, it's not, and these are like maybe rocks or beads that are on her, you know. I've taken off all those little details that were on the picture of that I took, because that much detail would have been very, very distracting. Even though it's there, it'd be very distracting. So, so I'm starting to give this some shape to it. I'm going to try to get some of them to look like even like they're shiny. Um, and you do that by putting a light blue at the top and maybe an orangey or a green on the bottom. And the eye almost helps you make that suggestion that it's like chrome. Yeah, yeah, like that. And then that one over there. Let's see, what should I do with that? Let's get one a little darker. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I like that. A little more variation. I need just a little more hint. Something going on there. Yeah, I like that. Okay, that works. So what do you think? Look like beads? Rocks. That looks good, yeah. then this part of the neck here is much darker, so that'll help delineate. And I've still got to put a little more color in this side of the neck to make that look a little darker, because there is a really strong shadow coming down there. Okay, so yeah, that. I'm going to play up here. Thought something might be interesting. If I did this, I see a little bit of that green in there. Let's see if I can get a little bit of that in there. Cool, I like that. So I'm just kind of putting all different kinds of colors, but keeping them at least relatable to each other, so it doesn't look totally like a, a whole mess. But maybe I am. I don't know. There we go. That. Yeah. Then, like I said, touch of blue maybe in here. Yeah. Yeah, that works for me. Like that. Yeah. Ooh. Yep. Hope you guys are digging it. I am. I'm digging it. Yeah, probably spending too much time on this, but I think it's a chance to give something interesting. Plus, for me, it kind of like the eye is going to come across here, and if I do this right, so if I can control that a little bit, I think I will. I'm going to try a little of that over here. I'll keep that kind of light. see if I can get those to stay almost like maybe the crystal gray. Yeah, make them look like they're maybe they're glass. See through them. So if I mix these up a little bit, I think I'll get that look I'm looking for. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yep. Okay. And this one, I'm just going to leave that pretty light. Okay. I do need to address this area a little bit. I'm going to try and first not make it too dark. There's a lady last week who painted one of the hat ladies that I did with me, sent me a copy of it, and I really got a kick out of it. It's nicely done. I made a couple suggestions. One was she uses a lot, instead of painting and letting the paint, allowing the forms to show the lines, she actually would draw the lines in, paint them in. And you can get away with a little bit of that, but it loses a whole lot of the transparency or the look that, and that's a pretty strong cast shadow on this side. So that helps bring that out. I like that. I just get a little more darker over here. So yeah, I'm liking that. I'm starting to feel it. And I'm going to come back through, and this color over here is just a little bit too purple. I forget what I put in there, but I might have put in a little purple in there. And I'm going to come back a little bit and give her face just another wash of color. Not right now. Keep you all in suspense. And still, we don't want to lose that. Looking like that veil, shadows are coming down. So I'll come back and throw just a few more shadows, make this a little more consistent there. But I think that helps a little bit as far as showing where the face ends here. I do want to just to give it a little more depth right in here. And don't have to do the whole thing, just enough to give it to know where it stops and ends, the neck. And your eye will do the rest of it. While it's still wet, I'm going to put that in. When you paint on it while it's still wet, you tend to keep you can keep the edges pretty soft. There we go. Nice looking lady. And then when I come back to do this kind of a dark, it probably over the side, under here, that's the darkest you're going to get. It probably looks pretty dark from here. It'll lighten up as it dries, but that's pretty close to what I'm going to go for right there. And I'm going to see what time it is. Oh boy. You know, time flies when you're having this much fun. Have you guys noticed that? Hair is very, very difficult for a lot of people. And I'm going to throw myself right into that mix. And I'm going to show you what I do. And maybe it'll help you a little bit. But the main thing I'm looking for are those curls. And not being afraid to try some things, but always keep in mind, always think about where are those curls flowing if it's curls. If straight hair is the hardest. I'll tell you why. It's because straight hair generally isn't. There's always some sort of little wave to it. And a lot of people don't have straight hair. It's truly straight hair. And so what happens is that it doesn't look right. All right, so I'm looking for the little spots that come across down in there. And there they are. Yeah, I like that. I'm just following those curls that she has. And it's going to get a little darker in here. And not be afraid to, so as I put these on top of each other, so you can see I left this one white. I'll come back in, but for right now I'm going to leave that. And I'm looking for where I think some of the darker spots will be. It's going to be one right underneath that curl, back under here underneath, as that comes around. So and up here at the hat, it's dark. There we go. I'm digging this. Okay. It's still a little bit early for you to see, but I can see kind of how this is going to come out. You can already see I'm starting to suggest some of those curls are there. And you don't have to paint every little curl to get that look. And I might like give a suggestion of a and I'll let that dry a little bit. Each time I come back, I'll keep putting another layer in. And what happens is hair is very transparent because they're just strands. So you can already kind of see how this is flowing. And it feels like it's flowing. I like that. That's kind of my interpretation of the painting of the picture photograph. It's dark. It's dark up here, yeah, but it's gonna darken in some of these spots there. So I'll come back to that. I don't like the orange up here. I just noticed in the nose, so I'm gonna fix that real quick. And I'm just gonna apply a little of that on there. Let's see if I can get some of that orangey off there. I don't think it'll be a problem. A little better. Still a little too orange. Yeah. Okay. What that lip is bothering me. What is that right here? don't mean to be giving you a fat lip or anything like that. There we go. And I'll come back to that in a minute. Let that dry a little bit. Just want to reshape that just a little bit. That was bothering me. I know it's bothering you, so if it's bothering you, it's bothering me. But there is a shadow. So there's a little number of highlights I've got to work on. One is a little more, just a little more, if I would just, I'm going to go ahead and do that. If I would just make this ever so bit, a little bit darker, it would make the corner of her mouth pop a little bit, which needs to happen. Just a little bit. I won't get too carried away. I'm going to show you this because this is really kind of fun how this works. There we go. And then that follows down here a little bit. Helps me with this shape, several shapes. I don't know if you can see that, but I like that because it gives her mouth a little more defined, that defines where it is, where it stops, where it starts. So I'll soften that up a little bit. Yep. And there it is. And then there's going to be a little bit of a streak along here. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. So anyway, I'm just coming back and doing a little, what I call toning. Just a little bit of toning. And this is really the fun part. So you're starting to put in suggesting some details. Okay, I'm going to finish up here, and I'll be on next week for more like a couple hours. I made some homemade ice cream. It's ready to go on the freezer, one of those cranking freezers. We just got a freezer that makes ice cream. We had one before our house burned down. We lost it then, but now we have another one. This time I got one that has both an electric and a hand crank. So I told my wife that, she would probably want to use the hand crank. Just need to soften these up a little bit. And there we go. All right. So anyway, I need to do that a little bit more in some of these other spots along here. A little more definition. Up here a little bit, the eyes, a little more definition. And then I got to fix that eye. But you can see it's starting to pop a little bit. And it really will pop once I'm going to go ahead and, no, I got to stop. Nope, can't stop. All right. So glad you hung in there with me, enjoyed it. And I'll catch up with you guys next week, I hope. Hope you all will be on here, same time, same channel.